Welcome back to Parsnips and Parsimony. Today is going to be my end of July garden tour. So if you haven't seen the progress that my garden's been making, I'll go ahead and link the April, I think it's April, May, or May and June videos down below. So you can see the progression of my garden as they've gone along. I think you're going to be very surprised at how much things have grown in an entire month. Look at how much this thing has grown. It's just simply amazing to me how much plants can grow when the weather conditions are right. Banana peppers. I think in the end of June update, I was talking about how many peppers were on my plant. I've never had a year like this. This is unbelievable. The marigolds, look at, they're like bushes. They're like giant bushes. I have no idea. It must be the time of year. The broccoli, we ended up getting a large head of broccoli on that, and then we've got more little heads coming off of the main stem here. Beets are doing pretty well. Because the broccoli was so big, it ended up shading some of the beets. So not all the beets did as well as, well, I would have liked. But still, we have beets, kale here, lettuce is all gone at this point. We had a surprise pepper. I did not grow purple peppers, but lo and behold, what's in my garden but purple peppers? And you can see there's regular green ones. Something happened in the packet of seeds, but that's okay. These guys have been suffering a little bit because of our volunteer sunflowers. However, I left the sunflowers here because I really wanted them to attract the bees into our garden, which has been a huge success. Let me see if I can find some bees on here for you. The sun just went away, so the bees, well, now they're not showing up, but these have been covered in bees every single day. Not just honeybees, sand bees, bumblebees, every type of bee you could imagine. It was here. And I think, oh, there's one way over there. I see him right on there. You can see there he is. I think this has been a huge success in bringing the wild bees into the garden, helping to pollinate. The jalapeno peppers still look pretty much as pathetic as they did a month ago. Not sure why. Not sure if this is causing too much shade, if it's just the location. Whatever the case is, they are starting to produce some jalapeno peppers here. So we do have some peppers, and hopefully these will be enough to make salsa with once the tomatoes start to ripen. My container tomatoes are doing pretty well. We went away on vacation and some of them got a little too dry while we were gone. So this guy suffered a little bit more than this guy, but so far they seem to be doing pretty well. We actually have strawberries. I lost one of my plants. I'm not sure what happened to it, but we still have 3 plants here and we've been getting a few strawberries. Aren't those so cute? Along the back here, well, those are my eggplants. Seriously. They're as tall as the fence. I can't believe it. I don't know. It's been crazy this year. Really crazy. I've never had a garden like this. So we've got flowers just starting to come on these eggplants. I don't think there's actually any eggplant fruit yet that I can show you, but definitely coming along here. Weeds. The weeds loved it while I was gone. Haven't dealt with that yet. Flowers over here. Great. There's the dill. We have the zinnias. We have our thyme, parsley. Parsley finally grew up. We've got basil. I'm in the process of getting ready to harvest that. And then tomatoes. Tomatoes and more tomatoes. This was our volunteer tomato that, well, it sort of just has taken off and is sprawling. It's a cherry tomato. Really happy about that. I'm not going to complain about tomatoes this year. Look how tall these are. I don't know if you can grasp how tall those are. I'm 5 foot 3 inches. Those go well over a foot and a half over me. So we're looking at, what, 7 feet, 6.5, 7 feet tall tomatoes. Earlier this week, I did snip off the tops of them. They can't get any more tall, they can't go anymore. My sticks are running out, and I'm afraid we're gonna get a storm and or knock over. So I snipped all those off, the tops on of them, hoping that in the next week or two, the tomatoes will start to ripen. We have tons and tons of tomatoes. They're doing so well. Just none of them have ripened yet. So I just keep watching them, trying to trim off any of this disease, but it's starting to get to a point where, well, I'm not going to be able to trim off much more. But look at these tomatoes. Oh, so pretty. I feel like I'm in the middle of a giant jungle We have had some hornworms. We've been dealing with the braconid wasp has been taking care of them for me, so I've just been leaving them on my plants. If you've never done companion planting, check it out. It's one of the best things for your garden to help you control bugs and things like that in a natural, organic way. So right next to my tomatoes, I have these, well, yellow squash, and these have been training up sticks. Not all of them are going up the sticks because we went on vacation and they bent over, so, well, that's life. But these have been producing bountifully. And oh, there's one there. I mean, just unbelievable how much. You can see this one. Oh, this one looks like he bent over. His top broke off on there. I mean, these things are amazing. I gotta sneak through here without breaking any of the tomatoes. See how this one is growing right up that stick? Isn't that really cool? And they've just been producing absolutely beautifully. And then over in this corner, we do have another set of eggplants. Now, this is a different variety here. But if you guys, okay, I'm going to try to lean you guys over here. There's one of the eggplants. Isn't that pretty? Not quite ripe yet, but it's definitely coming along. I realize that some of you guys may have never seen a tomato hornworm before. I just mentioned about those, and I found one on the plant. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. This one does have the braconid wasp larva on it, so you guys can see that. That little fella right there, that is a tomato hornworm. Those white eggs are from the braconid wasp. Those are going to actually end up eating the hornworm from the inside out. And as you can see, it's not really eating my plant now, it's just hanging out. In past years, I've had hornworms that have devastated my tomato plants, but by companion planting, attracts that braconid wasp to do exactly what it's doing on these hornworms. So I just leave them. I don't worry about it. It doesn't destroy the plant. They're perfectly fine. It's just all part of the process. When we returned home from vacation, John spotted this tomato and he couldn't believe how big it is. I've never had a tomato like this. If you guys remember watching my seed haul video, I was doing new seeds from an organic company. Most of these seeds are heirlooms, so totally new variety here, but it's impressing me so far. Look at the size of this. This tomato probably weighs, I'm gonna guess, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. Here's my hand next to the tomato, and it is pretty much the whole size of the tomato. It's unbelievable, and there's a whole bunch of big ones right around it. We've already gotten a lot of harvest from our garden, and the tomatoes haven't even started yet. Zinnias are one of my favorite flowers, and butterflies love them too. Isn't he pretty? This is probably one of my favorite parts of my yard right now, is just these beautiful zinnias. Seeing the butterflies and the hummingbirds on my flowers just brings me so much joy. The rhubarb is pretty much at the end of the season. I probably could pick some for a cobbler or something like that. But for the most part, it's done with harvesting the major harvest. The rest needs to actually go back into the roots. So next year we'll have a really good harvest. Folks, look at those vines. Remember last month what those vines look like? Unbelievable how they've spread. I mean, here we go. This is the tip of one of the vines. I think this is the zucchiniano plant that's growing out like this. Yep, there's one of my zucchinianos right there. There's another one. I mean, there's so many in here. They have been so productive. I have also lots of spaghetti squash in here growing away, and who knows what else is hiding in this pile of green vines. We're just letting it run. Art was wondering if that vine would make it all the way to the hills before the end of the season. Peaches are still in the process of ripening. Not much is happening with those. And then we go into the garden here. We've already canned 14 quarts of dill pickles. I don't expect to get all that many more, at least not enough for pickles. Probably most of them will be for salads here on out. You're probably noticing a lot of this wilt. This is because of cucumber beetles, and unfortunately I was not able to win the war on the cucumber beetles, so we're definitely having some wilt issues. But these gherkins are the most adorable and tasty little things. They've made some of the best pickles, been easy to work with. In fact, I haven't been out here to check my cukes today, but looks like, well, it's time to pick some more cucumbers. The vines that were supposed to stay outside of the garden, well, some of them desperately wanted to come into my garden. So we have some of the vines that have gone in with the cucumbers. Like here's a cucumber trying to come off the trellis. The trellising has been really good. But these bigger leaves, I believe it's zucchiniano. I haven't actually seen any fruit on it yet. But here it goes, right through the garden. It wasn't supposed to happen that way, but that's what happens. Chard. Beans, this pile of beans hasn't done as well as my bean towers. We've already done, let's see, 24 quarts, I think it's 24 quarts of green beans so far. They're canned and put down on our pantry shelf. We've got some kale here, lots of weeds, lone beet right there, and then again, more kale. My garlic is ready to harvest. We're not touching the horseradish right now. And yeah, I mean, lots and lots of vines. I can't wait to see how it all produces at the end of the year. While I was away on vacation, I got a text from the girl who was taking care of my garden, quite alarmed that my zucchini looked like this. Folks, my zucchini was probably up to about here. And then one day it went whoop. And apparently we got some sort of bug or rot. I think it might have been a borer because before we left I had found some squash borers on here. However, I do have two other plants that seem to be doing well. And this one, I'm trying to let it recover. I did some pruning yesterday. Probably still needs a little bit more pruning, hoping to get a little bit more zucchini out of it, but not really that good of a year for zucchini. Green beans, wow. Bush beans, not as productive as my pole beans, but they're just starting to get their second wind here. So you can see they're just starting to produce more flowers for that second crop of beans. Beans tend to come in waves, so the plants will produce a heavy crop for the first time, at least for my bush beans, and then they take like a resting period, and then they'll produce one more time really heavy. We're just getting to that second time of it producing pretty heavily. Hopefully we will get a couple more canner loads of beans, so we'll be all set for the winter time. I know some of you guys have messaged me and said that you guys just freeze your beans. My kids absolutely love canned green beans, so canned green beans it is. They are willing to help me trim them and snip off the ends, and if they're willing to help and do it, well, let's do canned green beans. The potatoes seem to be doing very well. Won't know until we get in the ground. The peas are just coming. I'm going to say they probably got a week left. You can see the peas are just starting to die off there. It's hot. We were gone. We weren't able to keep up with the watering, so we lost a few of our plants. But we still got some plants going. This is going to get replanted. Hopefully green beans. If not green beans, it'll be lettuce. We've got more potatoes. Folks, look at this. These are parsnips. I've never, I'm almost speechless. I don't know what to say about them. I'm hoping the roots are huge. That's all I can hope for. But they look good. They look good so far. Chard is ready to harvest. Haven't had a chance to get to that. We've got more lettuce coming, so this is another crop of lettuce. In fact, I have to replant some more lettuce. Yellow squash, my volunteer parsnip. Carrots. We have carrots. So excited. Look at those. There they are. They're growing away. Another one right here, looking really healthy. So I am very hopeful we will have some yummy carrots this fall. I really never have had a gardening year like this, and I know it's nothing that I have done special this year. All of the local gardens in upstate New York, of the gardener friends that I'm seeing, are having a tremendous year this year. And just so thankful for how the garden's producing. Need to get caught up after vacation on some of the weeds and replanting, but we're doing really, really well. And I'm looking forward to smashing that 500-pound goal mark that I set for myself earlier this year. Unfortunately, when we came back home from vacation, we found out that the elderberry bush ended up getting split on the main branch, which is very unfortunate. It doesn't seem like it totally ruined it. It's, you know, it still looks pretty healthy here, but I don't know if it was just a windstorm or it was so heavy laden with elderberries, whatever the case is. You know, here they are, tons and tons of elderberries. They're not ripe yet. They have to turn black, but it looks like another really good year for the elderberries. So that's about it. That's my end of July garden tour for upstate New York. We're in a zone 5 for those of you who are watching and curious about where your garden might compare to ours. It's been, I mean, even if the garden stopped producing now, it's been a phenomenal year. It really has been amazing. In fact, this was the first year that my husband said he thought we might actually run out of canning jars. And we have a lot of canning jars. We ended up having to purchase a new freezer because we ran out of freezer space, and we certainly didn't want to have all of this produce go to waste. So we ended up purchasing a new freezer. We're going to start going through the process of greens, of freezing greens for soups and for the winter time. And also many of you wrote to me and said that on your yellow squashes, you individually freeze them and put them in bags and use them as sauteed yellow squash in the winter, or you use them in soups. My refrigerator, when I came home from vacation, is full of yellow squash. So I'm going to be trying some of that and seeing if I can have the squash for wintertime. I haven't tried it that way, but I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also working on getting a new canning and preserving book. I will, once that comes in, you guys will be seeing that here on this channel. I'll put a link for it. But I was in contact with our master preserver right here at our Cornell Cooperative Extension, and this was the book that she recommended that I get. I tried getting into a master canner and preserver course, but because of COVID-19, they're not running any classes until next year. So I signed up for a pickling class that they're doing online via Zoom. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, share us with your friends, and stay tuned for our next update, which will be an end of August update, and see how much produce we get out of this garden. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you for our next video. Bye.